walking the Dales. For the last 15 years, this gorgeous landscape has been the canvas that my family's life has been painted on. And whilst so many of our adventures start in the car, our favourite way to explore this gorgeous part of the world is on foot. There is nothing quite like walking the Yorkshire Dales. From its rolling hills to its beautiful forests and picturesque villages. In this series, you're going to join us on 7 wonderful walks. Some we know well, but others are brand new to us. Along the way, we'll take in some breathtaking views, and using my famous map reading skills, we might just learn a thing or two. But where are we going today? One of the things that we wanted to do in this series was to go to places that historically we'd driven to and never strayed too far from our car, but instead get out and explore a little bit of the wonderful countryside. That's exactly what we're going to be doing today. Now, I love history, and over the past few years I've been delighted to visit some of the outstanding castles that lay throughout the Yorkshire Dales, and today we're going to be walking past one of my favourites. Because just down the road from here lies the medieval town of Middleham, with the truly breathtaking Middleham Castle sat right in the middle of the town. But that's not the reason why we've come here today. Oh no, because there is so much more to see. Now, my companion today will once again be the rather marvellous Kevin the drone. And while I get him ready, why don't you take a look at some of the sights that we're going to see on today's Walking the Dales. It's gorgeous, isn't it? And what I'm just completely ashamed to tell you is, I've been coming here 10 years and I've never bothered to look any further than the castle. So I'm super excited to get out on the trails today. Now, it's a very different walk to last time. In episode 1, we were walking through a Neolithic landscape, very much on the fringes of the Yorkshire Dales National Park. Actually, we were 0.56 of a mile just outside the start of the official line where the Yorkshire Dales begins. Today, we are slap bang in the middle of it. Some might say that this is the heart of the Yorkshire Dales. And this is very much a medieval landscape, so there's going to be much more to see. It's going to be much more obvious than that Neolithic landscape that we walked through in episode 1. Now, our destination today is Coverham Abbey, which I've just heard the most amazing things about. It's a mysterious place because it's privately owned, so there's not a massive amount to see, but what I'm told is it's just got the most wonderful vibe, and also there's a gorgeous church there that we'll go and take a little look around. But before we get there, we've got a lot of walking to do. So, shall we get going? Shall we begin our next Walking the Dales? Let's do it. Welcome everyone to Wensleydale, and as this is an English summer and I'm certainly not complaining about it, I have brought with me my raincoat, which I have donned because it's a little bit rainy now. This though, folks, is Wensleydale, and it's probably the most famous of all the Yorkshire Dales, I think, and that's largely because of the wonderful cheese it's been made famous for. What I'm actually so excited about today is we're going to be taking a look at some of the wonderful settlements that you find scattered all across the Yorkshire Dales, and they really don't come much better than the town we're on our way to right now. The wonderful town of Middleham, and it's just tremendous castle, once royal castle. Now, it was built originally by the Normans, and as I mentioned earlier, this part of the world is really famous for cheese, and it was thanks to the arrival of those Normans that the cheese actually got here and started to be made here. I'm very glad I brought my raincoat. I think it's going to be coming and going today. We're going to have to be careful with Kevin because he doesn't really like the rain very much, but I think I find it very atmospheric in the Yorkshire Dales and anywhere where you get fells, that you get quite quick changes of weather. So cloud will roll in and it'll be awful. And just a moment ago, I thought the sun was going to come out and it's going to be time to take the coat off, but alas, no. I don't mind though. It's Yorkshire and I love it. This is home. Whilst we're walking along what is now quite a quiet country lane, just horses going by every so often because they actually train race horses near here, and farm vehicles and one or two cars. 560 years ago it would have been a very, very different type of highway, because this was, of course, the main road into what was then a royal town of Middleham. Whilst I love the wild walks, I've got to say, this is just marvellous. It feels strangely completely normal, which at the moment is just a wonderful feeling. There's cars bustling around, there's horses everywhere. I didn't realise quite how many racehorses clearly must be being trained here. And there's just gorgeous flowers out everywhere. So it's through one last gate and we've reached our first settlement in the Dales, and it's one of my favourites. Let's take a look around. So Middleham clearly started life as a very small settlement, probably just a few houses, and it stayed that way for about 1,000 years until the arrival of the Normans. And they brought with them something pretty dramatic, the ability to build castles like that. You can tell I've not done this trail before. I just got slightly lost. At least I think I did. Oh, I don't know. But I think I can see a path up over the hill that way, and that's the direction we need to go in. This is actually the start of a trail that takes you through 6 Yorkshire Dales, starting here in Wensleydale and then running right the way through to Wharfdale. It's called the 6 Dales Trail, funnily enough, and it's 38 miles in length. Amazing. Don't worry, we're not going to do it all today. Now this really is a walk packed with tangible history, because in AD 69 the famous 9th Roman Legion arrived here and they built a watchtower on top of this hill. Now I've been up here once before, but I've got a feeling Kevin the drone might be able to give us a view of this amazing landmark unlike any I've ever seen before. So as we leave Williams Hill behind us and the sun starts to peek through the misty clouds, it's time for us to try and find the river that will lead us straight to Coverham Abbey. I am venturing down the valley and I can hear the river in front of me. I'm certain it's down here. I can also see a lovely path, so hopefully I'm not going to get lost for a second time on today's trail. I certainly won't get lost again because we're definitely coming back here. This is just stupendous. It really is a typical English summer day because I'd really like to take my coat off, but I know if I do, the rain will start again and I'll be done for. These are the days that remind me of my childhood, and also wet. Stinging nettles have a very particular smell. My goodness, there's a field full of thistles right here. We shall leave those prickly thistles behind. Now, we're in search of the River Cover, and the River Cover is what gives Coverham Abbey its name. And if we pick up that river, which I'm hoping, I think I can see it, is at the bottom of this hill, we can follow it right the way down and we'll find the lovely abbey. Also, as well, round here somewhere, there is a place called Braithwaite Farm, and we drove past it once and I wondered what it was, and I've actually found out in the research that we've done for this show that it's actually a working 17th century farm that I think you can go stay at. They have open days and all sorts. It's run by the National Trust. Looks like a fascinating place, and it really does make you sort of stop and ponder, why is it you don't find these places before? Well, I suppose if no one tells you what's over the hill, and you know, no one lets you know about these places, and who would? How would you ever find them? And I come back to my love of maps, because if you pore over a map, you will find these places like I did. So let's see if we can find this lovely river. So I'm on the trail of that marvellous bridge. This is where things get interesting. Barbed wire, wood over the top, slippy wood style. We made it, but through a rather gorgeous little wood. And then I think we're on the downward slope to the banks of the River Cover. Maybe you can see behind me, there's some sheep and they're trying to shelter in what looks like an old shepherd's hut that has no roof. It's not going to work, lads. come out of the trees and the rain stops, which is very nice. Here's the river cover looking absolutely gorgeous. What a lovely butterfly. I think this has potentially been worth the effort, because it is so unbelievably lovely, and it's about as quintessentially Yorkshire Dales as I think anything I've ever seen. We have totally made it to Hullo Bridge. Underneath us is the river cover, and if you don't believe me, just take a look. Wow, it's so pretty. So as we leave the river cover, we're now on the homeward bound as I try and get my way through this fence. My goodness, it's so pretty around here. It's so different. This is definitely quaint, whereas what we saw last time was really quite imposing, wasn't it? Although there has been imposing moments on the trail today. Middleham Castle, for example. I mean, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? Now, some people have asked me what I'm wearing on my feet. Well, I have sworn for a number of years by Merrill walking shoes. I've had two different pairs, just assorted models. They've always been superb. But my secret weapon are hand-knit socks. I always wear hand-knit socks, but specifically when I'm out walking. They keep you sort of cool, but they're springy, and people, you know, they wouldn't believe you, would you, if you say hand-knit socks are cool in summer, because it really is quite warm today. Wow, what a view. I'll be honest, it's astounding I haven't slipped yet. There's an awful lot of dampness in the air. It's quite wet, and it's making all the stones and the wood and everything super slippy. Over this next ridge though, I think we'll be in Coverham. This is unbelievable. It's like an enchanted forest. You can just sense that things used to be going on here. And we're coming up on some buildings now, which, to me, It's hard to imagine a Scottish army rampaging probably across that field, coming to attack the Abbey. And it may even have been Robert the Bruce who led them. Not on a day like today. It's so quiet and tranquil. Granted, it might be raining a bit. Scottish weather, definitely. The hood is now up. Crumbs. The weather's really coming. But there's one last place for us to visit before... No, it's actually two places to visit before we finish our walk. And the first one is a gorgeous church. Wow, this place is absolutely stunning and it's so silent. It's pretty certainly on my knowledge of abbeys and you know, the buildings that used to go on around them, the churches which were built locally to them were normally built by exactly the same stonemasons and glazers that built the abbey, which was close to the parish church. So the guys who built this will have built Coverham Abbey. It really is destinations like this that make the Yorkshire Dales, in my opinion, one of the best places to come and visit. But there's one more stop on our trail today. Would you believe that there is a tarn in the Yorkshire Dales? I'm told it's the perfect picnic spot, and I think we should go see if we can find it. My goodness, folks, Pinker's Pond is an absolute delight. This is really one of the reasons why we wanted to do this series, because it's forced us very much to step outside of the sort of routines that you get yourself into, the places that you know you can go to and have a good time. You get lazy, don't you? You don't sort of step outside that bubble and see what's there. Because this is just the most perfect picnic spot I think I've ever seen in my life, surrounded by amazing wildlife, gorgeous flowers. There's a picnic, not a picnic, a chair up there you can sit on with just the best view looking out across this gorgeous tarn. And who'd have thought we'd have found a tarn in the Yorkshire Dales? But there is my car. There is the end of today's wonderful walk. But what a walk it's been! Absolutely jam-packed full of just the most amazing history. What an adventure we've had, and what the most wonderful place to finish off at. This is most certainly the Yorkshire Dales, but it's so different, isn't it, to last time? There's been so much more to see. It's a fascinating destination, and it really, for me, shows you in those first 2 episodes the 2 sides of this just rather gorgeous part of the world. Episode 1, really wild. Today, different. Wild, but in a more humanised way, if you like. Lots of evidence of things going on, and beautiful churches and gorgeous bridges and rivers. Folks, if you've missed the really wild elements of the Dales, don't fret, because next time we're going to try and marry the 2 walks that we've been on in episode 1 and episode 2 together into one walk. We're going to try and take the wild with also some of the most gorgeous villages I'm told there's anywhere in the country. So thank you so much for watching this time, and I'll see you next time for more Walking the Dales.